Good evening tonight, folks. It's your man Donald King. How y'all doing tonight? You good? Let's adjust this just a little bit. Just a little bit. Let's see how that goes. Anyway, I hope everybody out there is doing swell. Swell is a good word. We don't use it enough these days. Swell. I don't know what I'm going to talk about tonight. Normally before I shoot the podcast, I have no idea what I'm going to be talking about anyway. This is unrehearsed. A lot of times I'll use, sort of language and framing that I've sort of refined through the years and use lots of word fillers in there, like sort of and kinda and like, apparently. But today I'm tired. I hit the bottleneck effect again, where there was a couple of different subjects I could have jumped into. But I'm always examining, exploring bodies of principles. And these days, things have been a bit more intense, with the old avatar perspective. The entity I'm hosting, it's having its say. Now, I know a lot of you all are on the fence about your boy Danny King. You're like, man, why is he always so aggressive? Or not aggressive? Well, I mean, you might perceive me as aggressive. Who knows? But why is he always so intense? Why is he leaning so hard into this avatar character? It's not a character, by the way, but to people looking on from the outside, it might seem to be. But why is he so intense? I like using that voice when I'm mimicking y'all. Or mocking. I don't know what you call it. But, not Donald King. The thing he's hosting, it's drawn a hard line in the sand. And it's like, you with me or you with reality or you with corruption? The more settled you are into a corrupt outlook and state of mind is the more you're going to dislike me, and the more you're sort of given to honesty and reasoning is the more you're going to be like, he's spitting hot fire. He's killing the game. Yeah. That's the way it goes, though. The more given to corruption and idealism you are, is the more hostile I'm going to seem to you, because the entity that I'm hosting, it's calling out corruption. It's like you and me about to have our rounds. You wanted this battle, so I'm going to bring it to you. Remember, you asked for this. And those of you all who are currently under the spell of corruption, why? You see, Donald King is a big old ball of crazy. It doesn't make any sense. Why is he being so mean? Why is he saying these intense things? Why is he pretending to be this person? No pretending here. No pretending here. It's really interesting. One of the subjects I was thinking about talking about the other day is the subject of Judas. And I might actually change the title of this video to sort of address the issue of Judas. You see, there are a couple of different reasons to talk about this dude, right? In the Last Supper, Jesus was like, it'd been better for that person to have never been born. Now, here's what you need to understand. During every avatar cycle, there's always a Judas figure. Sometimes they're pronounced. Other times, they sort of, they're just so insignificant they don't make it into the canon of the story. That usually gets attributed to the avatar. However, there's always some contrarian figure in the background plotting against, smiling in the avatar's face and plotting behind its back. And it's always this jealous, petty, ignorant, insecure, self-righteous asshole. It's a narcissist who has it in their mind that the individual who the avatar is manifesting through should be subject to them. It's usually a lifelong person, someone who's been in the avatar's life for many, many years, They go behind their back. They sow seeds of contempt. They do little, like, cowardly things to try and dominate the avatar, to try and assert authority over the avatar. They're contrarian, they're combative, they're generally cowardly people. They always try to harvest these little groups that they can use to weaponize against the individual the avatar is hosting. It's fucking cowardly. The avatar perspective, the entity, it casts a light on individuals who are potentials for this, who the potentials for this role. Now I need you to understand something about it. This role, this Judas role, it's not divine. It doesn't serve some greater purpose in the grand scheme of reality. It is purely a narcissistic asshole allowing themselves to be used by corruption because their own vanity won't let them see the avatar for what it is. They instead choose to try and focus on the individual who they feel they should hold power and dominion over. This avatar perspective, it's shown me a couple of potentials, and one person has stood out among the group. There's always competition. This ignorant asshole always trying to compete. Through the duration of time, I've known this person trying to compete. Never comfortable with the fact that even if I weren't an avatar and we were just sort of gauging my abilities alone, that my abilities put me in a realm of consideration that they simply can't control and don't have access to. Just trying to compete against me. It's always hurtful because here you are looking at these people as things to elevate and uplift and help. Whole time they're looking at you as something to defeat, destroy, and subdue. Not for anything related to the goodness or not. It's not due to anything related to any good ideal or motivation. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I probably could say that better. Like, they're not motivated towards their aggression isn't motivated by any sort of altruistic ideal or any of those other things. It's just purely and simply, I'm supposed to be better than you. And they try. You know, we talk about Judas, and I started talking about Judas, but the main reason why I'm talking about Judas now is because there's a lot of stuff that wasn't covered in the story of Jesus pertaining to Judas that you can actually sort of I think, is it interpolate? Is that the word I'm looking for? That that is implied by the story itself. Like the very fact that these soldiers or these priests or whatever, whoever approached Judas and told him to betray Jesus. Now, there were some threats involved, but the thing is, they already had to know he was the weak link. They already had to know he was a dissenter. They had to know that there was some contempt in Judas already for Jesus, and it didn't take a good deal of pressure to get him to fold. He was already on the other side of the fence. He did not like Jesus. He went around with Jesus. He was like, yeah, he tried to, save face and pretend like he was part of the crew. He was squad. But at the end of the day, they picked him for a reason. They already knew. They already knew that he was the one who was going to fold. He was looking for an opportunity to fold. Just think about it like this. Imagine you got a crew and, y'all, let's say you have a sort of fringe, you have a fringe or a counterculture that you're starting to, that you're starting similar to like the Black Panthers or something like that. They know who the weak link is. They know who they could put pressure on in order to get them to fold, because they already know who's motivated by vanity, who's motivated by greed, who's motivated by image and the desire to consume. They spotted Judas from a mile away. And the funny part about it is, what most people don't understand about Judas is this: if Judas actually believed in Jesus, it would have been impossible for them to threaten him with any sort of physical harm. If he actually heeded Jesus' words, paid attention to Jesus and understood what Jesus was talking about, he wouldn't have feared men. So regardless of how you decide to look at the situation, it was always a circumstance in which Judas trained himself to disregard, dismiss, and dislike Jesus, and he hung around Jesus for personal benefit, out of cowardice. I don't like you, but I'm afraid to go against you, so I'm just going to hide in the wings with fake smiles and fake hugs and fake kisses on the cheek. Again, the Judas role is never, ever, under any circumstance, ordained. It's not necessary. It's not essential. It is something the individual assumes. It's something they take upon themselves out of their own vanity. Satan weaponizes a cowardly ideologue with a superiority complex against the avatar, and it's one who walks close to the avatar, keeps tabs, and then whenever he feels he's empowered to do so, or she, they pounce. On several occasions, I've explained to you all that aggressing against the thing I'm hosting is, you don't want any part of it. You don't want any part of it. None. Because the consequences that come along with it are so unfathomable that even I, with my ability to articulate things in the way I'm able to, I don't have anything to give you in the way of helping you understand exactly how bad it gets for you. If your vanity, your pride, if you let your pride drag you into a battle against meta beings, you deserve every fade you catch. And like Jesus said, pertaining to Judas, it'd have been better for that person to have not been born, because no one made him do it. The individual who has demonstrated themselves to be the likely candidate for the Judas role for this cycle has never stopped talking about me behind my back. They've never stopped coming to me with their passive aggressiveness and desires to assert authority over me, trying to speak over me, impose their will on me. They've stolen from me. They've never stopped aggressing, never stopped competing, never stopped assuming themselves to be superior to me, as though I should live to supplement their life and experience. Ironically, part of my enlightenment process required me to go through a humbling phase wherein I was forced to go to them for help. And I knew back then that the person didn't really like me. But it's not about me. I'm not the fucking star. So part of me being humbled in order to walk this path entailed me having to go to a person I knew who didn't really like me and do work and ask for help and things of that nature, just to get it in my head that fuck what you want, Donald King. Fuck your pride. Just advance. Just move forward. And I took that lump. I took them hits towards getting to where I am now. Nobody makes you be a dick. Nobody made Judas nurture that funky attitude in him towards Jesus. It's something he practiced doing. He practiced doubling down on stories that invalidated Jesus in his perceptive outlook and somehow made Jesus subject to him in his inner sense of justice. This is what he practiced. And he had his reward. He got his reward. He got his reward. So yeah, man. It's really interesting. You see these people, these characters, doing the most, trying to protect and preserve their identity. Some people are passive-aggressive in their cowardice. Other people are openly aggressive with their cowardice. And then some are deceitfully aggressive with their cowardice. Those are the ones you got to watch out for. Regardless of whether or not you like it, this is all happening. It's all going down. Right now, you're watching the end of days play out in real time, and most of you all can't even fathom it. You can't recognize it because you can't set down those goddamn mirrors you admire yourself in long enough to get a grasp on what's going on. You're literally watching it all unfold in real time, and you're so busy worshiping the mirror, you're missing the show. Brother, I'm saying the word! What's up with your boy? Let me see. Hey, Donald, how does someone see the way an avatar performs and desire justice? In this sense, in what way would the avatar cause an injustice to the Judas mindset? Always on time, my brother, my man. That's a great question. It boils down to this. When you're dealing with narcissism, and I want to explain this as mechanically as possible. Again, narcissism is an addiction to the identity. It's an addiction to self-idealizing and a subsequent desire to protect and defend the identity at all cost. Okay? Again, if you recall what I was talking about in terms of trauma. Trauma is a deep fear. It's a phobia of disempowerment. Okay? So a person who is deathly afraid of being disempowered, they come across someone who they, as a narcissist, feel they should be superior to, they should be able to outperform, who they feel they should just simply be better than. And the person invalidates their belief of superiority, then all of a sudden they're triggered. They experience cognitive dissonance. You can't do this. You're not this. You can't perform above the limits I've given to you. I'm supposed to be the superior one. I'm supposed to be the great one. You're supposed to be beneath me. And then, if you're a really cowardly person, and you're sort of the deceitful cowardly type, then what you start doing is doing little shady shit to try and undermine this person's value and potency so as to protect and preserve your own identity. When they sit here and they see not just Donald King, but an entity performing through a man which imbues the man with gifts and abilities that far exceed their own, they're still focused on the man. Hey, I'm supposed to be better than this man. Completely missing the entity performing through the man. Justice is moral symmetry. It's the belief or the outlook of fairness. It's not fair. Why does he have muscles and I don't? It's not fair. Why is he smarter than me? He's not smarter than me. It's an act. He's crazy. He's delusional. He's defective. Cowardice. They think they should be better than the man. The problem is the man is only a vessel for the entity. So they're not aggressing against the man. They're competing against the entity, competition and aggression being inextricably linked. So they're like, they're ignoring the fact that the man is continually saying, there's nothing great about me. What makes me great, if I am considerably so in any way, shape, or form, is the thing performing through me, not me itself, not me myself. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. They're like, oh, I'm supposed to be better than him. I'm supposed to be better than Donald King. I'm taller than him and I look better. Bitches love me more. Or they should. I should have advantages over him. Here's why I'm a better human being. It boils down to the parasitic outlook and worldview. Everything through the perceptive lens. It boils down to this desire to consume. I want presence over, and I want presence and recognition over and ahead of this individual. I want to consume and benefit ahead of him. Every single person who dislikes me for this reason. I should be better than him, but I'm not. So they do the thing that all cowards do, and they surround themselves with circles that reflect their inner story back to them. And, they create little gossip groups. Oh, yeah, he's crazy. Oh, he's this and that. And they come up with all these agreements they hold among themselves, whole time not realizing none of their shit is hidden from reality, and them plotting against this entity is only digging them into a deeper and deeper hole. Like they're in for anybody who follows Judas, anybody who subscribes to the Judas mindset, and who's under his wing, they're beholden to corruption, and even worse, they're aggressing against an entity that doesn't stand for it. Like, it's a bad look all around. It's a bad look all around. This person came to my inbox one time on some bullshit talking about a celebrity who is considered crazy. Nothing about me is crazy. Nothing about me is narcissistic. Like, you can literally pour through everything that I'm talking about. I'm an emotionally stable and healthy person. But the reason I mention that is because this individual, they were saying some shit like, take your meds. They were talking about, they were like trying to talk past this celebrity they were using to say make their statement. They were trying to talk to me as if to suggest that there was some sort of chemical imbalance happening in my mind, with no evidence to point to that conclusion. Just their feelings and beliefs. their own feelings of insecurity and ineptness. And the worst part about it is the motherfucker thought they were smart enough to talk past me. This is the thing I can't seem to understand. When do I ever give anybody the impression that they're smart enough to talk over my head? When do I ever give anybody the impression that, oh, you can speak past me, oh, you can speak over me, I'm not going to get it? When whether you're coming at me directly, whether you're coming at me passively, whether you're creating posts or talking in rooms or any of those other things, if it's within eyeshot, and that's just what Donald King is able to see, not what the entity I'm hosting is able to see, who is aware of all things that are conspiring against it, and which is just sort of collecting all the data so that once everybody's out of these bodies, every single person who tried to block it, who tried to derail it, who tried to aggress against it, they are going to get the hammer times a billion. Like, it's bad. Like, it's not limited to me. So any place in the world where people are conspiring against it, it's like, oh yeah, okay, cool, I'm just collecting. And me being a man, I'm kind of like, why are we waiting? Because it's like I still have my issues with patience, and I'm like, why are we waiting? Let's just that. It's like, nah, fuck you, Donald. You're not the star. It's like this happens in my time, and it's like, you know what? Just let them keep doing their thing. Let them keep doing their thing, because by the time I drop the hammer, it's something they cannot come back from. It's like, funny thing about reality and the Avatar perspective, they don't give a shit about our concepts of justice. They don't have. They derive no sense of pleasure or satisfaction from seeing things made to suffer or hurt. So, we want to see things punished that transgress against us and that cause imbalances in the world around us and to others. We want to see those things, sort of suffer to satisfy us. Reality doesn't give a shit. Avatar perspective doesn't give a fuck. It's like, yo, no, I'm not worried about, making them know and dwell on what's about to come to them. When I hit that lick, it's done. It's done. Humans want proof. Reality doesn't require proof. It's kind of like, hey, I am what I am. Who am I going to prove myself to? Is there someone for me to is there someone other or beyond me, or who is remotely or considerably even equal to me to impress? Which is what the perception of justice derives from, moral symmetry. Like, in order for there to be a concept of fair, there has to be a sort of collective mind state where there is a distribution of punishments and rewards. When you are everything, who's your contemporary? Who do you have to prove yourself to? No one. If you have to prove yourself to no one, why are you going to rush processes in order to make people see what you mean? There's no need to. So, again, Donald King is like, hey, I want to show these people, they did the thing. Reality's like, nah, it's happened. They're going to catch this fade 100%. It's going to be, it's worse than, like, even now, even with me being in this human body and being able to use the avatar perspective to look into the distortion, I can't see how bad it's going to get for them. Especially the Judas figure. Oh, God. It's bad. It's terrible. Like, it would have been better for them to have never been born. It's bad. If you let Satan into your heart because you practice vanity and self-idealizing, if you let Satan into your heart, you become an active agent of corruption, and then you choose to let corruption weaponize you against reality, you deserve everything that's coming to you, and then some. Because nobody makes you do it. You practice being a dick. Ah, man. People and their desire for attention. It's crazy. But it's warm in here, and that's what I have to contend with the windows being open. Even on a cool ass day like this, it's still warm in here. Your boy is tired though. Your boy's tired. You know this is podcast episode 80? It's podcast episode 80, man. It's wild. So, again, with the subject of Judas, it's very much something that you practice doing. There's no cosmic reward. God didn't like select the person to take on this role, and they're not part of some divine province or whatever you call it. It's just a narcissistic asshole assuming that they should be superior to an individual who's hosting a thing that they're too proud to see, that they're too proud to recognize, that they're too proud to acknowledge. If the Holy Ghost, as the Christian faith system refers to it, is performing through me, and you can't get your eyes off of trying to defeat me and subdue me to your inner story, and you fuck around and you aggress against it, do you think that, oh, I thought I was dealing with a man, is a fair excuse? When all you had to do was pay attention and be honest and reasonable? Do you think that just because being a narcissist, you're quick to forgive yourself, that reality is going to forgive your transgressions against it when you had no reason to transgress against it in any way, shape, or form? You don't get these moves back, guys. You don't get these moves back. I say get these moves back, guys. What's that? Anywho, Brother Sir, I appreciate you chiming in, man. Yeah. There's no need to, look, here's the thing I need you guys to understand. I don't care what you personally believe. I don't. I'm not here to try and change your beliefs, which is why I'm not beating down each and every one of your timelines, trying to force you to acknowledge me or force you to accept the fact that I am what I claim to be. You don't see me on your page trying to speak over you or trying to impress upon you the urgency of yielding to what I say. I speak from my own platform, the one afforded to me by Facebook. Even though, even the motherfuckers who put clamps on me in that way, oh my God, they're in so much trouble. Everybody who hasn't cleared the path, everybody who's done nothing to clear the path, you're in a lot of shit. And especially those who've done what they can to block the path and sort of obfuscate my efforts to reach the masses. You have no idea of the amount of shit you got yourself into that's only multiplying as the seconds pass. Right now, you guys really need to be reaching out to me and trying to figure out how to reverse this shit, because the outcome is bad. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. But, shit, I got sidelined there. What I was talking about. You don't see me talking at people. When somebody puts up a good post, I'll describe principles according to how I understand them, but I don't go around trying to beat people up with what I think I know. I don't perceive principles that I'm able to read as weapons to defeat people with. So I don't go around trying to compete against people or invalidate them or speak over them or anything. I try to have conversations with them and try to open up the floor to discussion so that we can compare perspectives, but I'm not the aggressor. I'm never the aggressor. You know what I'm saying? There are times when I come across corruption like racism and pedophilia and other such things where I speak strongly against the sort of toxic attitudes and outlooks that facilitate such behavior and ways of being. However, I don't come to people with aggression. If any animosity exists between us, it's completely created on your end. It completely derives from your end. I'm not here to create beef with you. I'm just not. No person can say, Donald King came to me and he called me this and he said this and he said that and he was talking about my mother and he said that. Nah, it's not how I move. I speak from my own platform. I speak from my own platform without trying to force anything on anyone, because truth is very much like sunshine. It just shines. It just shines. When's the last time you've seen the sun go and break into a structure that was designed to keep the sun out? The sun doesn't go and it doesn't force its way onto anything. It just shines. Inevitably, given enough time, the materials designed to break it down or block it out, they give way, and the light, it permeates throughout whatever it didn't have access to before. When I speak truth, that is how it works. So I just shine. But I don't go beating people down with my light. Now, funny part about it is, if you're a corrupt person and or you're allergic to light, then of course you're going to find me aggressive in the same way that a person who maybe is allergic to the sun will find the sun as being an aggressive entity, always trying to attack them. Maybe they don't have the melanin to block out the harmful ultraviolet rays. And like, yeah, the sun is always trying to attack us. No, it's not. It's just shining. It's just shining. Just like truth. You see, if you are equipped to take the sunlight, sun is never attacking you. It's only is only empowering you. It's only infusing you with energy and sustenance, and life. Just like truth. If you're equipped, if you're built to deal with it, it can't attack you. It can't break you down. All it does is empower you. It makes you strong. But if you're not built for truth, if you're not built to host truth and accept and acknowledge truth, then there's no way in which you won't perceive it to not be attacking you. If you're not set up for it, if you haven't built up that base coat, you're in a lot of trouble. Yeah, man. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. It's wild, man. Nobody makes Judas be Judas. When you read the Bible, you may be of the impression that Judas played a divine role, but he didn't. Funny part about it is, anybody could have stepped up and been Judas and done what Judas did, assuming they were narcissistic enough. Assuming they were narcissistic enough. At any point in time, if they were narcissistic, competitive, and aggressive, and they were so in a deceitful way, there's no way in which they wouldn't have been a perfect candidate for the Judas role. But it is chosen and it is not rewarded. It isn't rewarded by God. It's not even rewarded by corruption, which is the dumbest part about it. Like Judas, when he hung himself, is when he realized that's when the corruption stronghold on him let go and was like, "Hey, look what you did, homeboy." And he was like, "Oh God, oh shit," and he killed himself. He killed himself, and only expediting what he was heading into, which was the worst thing. It It is the absolute worst thing. Anybody who tries to aggress against this entity, anybody who takes upon themselves the belief that it is their inherent right in place to try and punish or to try and tarnish or damage or take anything from this entity, directly or indirectly, they are in for a world of hurt. There's nothing that you can do in reality that is not witnessed by the system of reality itself. Even what's in your heart. When I was over in heaven, you know one of the first things I noticed? Brother Jameson, what's good with you, man? I'm good. How are you? Yo, when I was over in heaven, one of the very first things that I noticed, first of all, you have no sensory faculties over there. So you're not going to see any streets of gold. There are no pearly gates, and which are a ridiculous notion to begin with, as if God is like, oh, let me let me hook my palace up, which is something that humans value, with all these adornments that mean something to humans. Gold matters to humans. Why would gold matter to reality? It doesn't. Why would gold matter to any type of entity? You know what I'm saying? Unless they have some technology that runs on it. But it's like gold and pearls and all these other these effects, these things that humans assign value to. Why would God be like, oh yeah, I need that over here. Let me spruce up my place. Let me feng shui it. But anyway, I digress. When you get over to the other side, one of the first things you notice is that, first of all, I wasn't even in one location. I was like in, I think it was 6 or 7 locations. Might have been a combination of 6 and 7 locations, right? Over there, there's no such thing as knowledge. The reason why there's no such thing as knowledge is because there are no barriers. There are no partitions, which means there are no perceptual or perceivable parameters by which to create differentiation, thereby negating things such as sensory faculties. Over there, you just immersed in a state of understanding. Is the reason why you always see me speak from a state of understanding is because there are no partitions. There are no physical objects. There's nothing over there. Everything is just, it simply is. So what's in your heart, when God can tell that corruption is in your heart or in your mind or it's in your spirit, you can't hide it with deep social acting. You can't hide it with smiles. You can't hide it with thoughts that you try to supplant over top of the true nature of what, who, how, and why you are. There is nothing to hide the essence of you. You're naked over there. Naked. Your physique doesn't matter because you don't have one. Doesn't matter how beautiful you are or whether or not you're deformed by human standards or any standards. There is nothing over there to shield the nakedness of you. And that is how reality views you at all times. You see, regardless of how you adorn yourself, regardless of all the surgical enhancements you do to yourself, all the tattoos and all the earrings and nose rings and effects, all the piercings and everything, regardless of what kind of clothes you wear, etc. When you are in reality, and when you're face to face with reality, you are always naked. You can't hide behind pageantry. You can't hide behind deep social acting. You are naked at all times. God knows, ironically, God knows what's in your heart. This is why God knows what's in your heart, because you can't hide anything from reality. You can't hide anything from reality. Reality is everywhere. It's all things. It permeates throughout everything. We're in its body. It is aware of where imbalance is, and it is hyper aware of everything. You're in its body. So anything that you do in the way of aggressive action towards the entity I'm hosting, it is cataloged by the body. If you even nurture within yourself hostility or contempt towards me, if you nurture that energy within you and you allow corruption to take your soul, even if you only interact with me as with smiles, it is clear, it is evident what your intentions towards me are, because you can't hide anything. What you gonna hide from God? Even the stuff that you hide from yourself, even the stuff you try to brush over with deep social acting, nah. You can't act your way into being a better person, and you most certainly can't act your way into being out of a bad position or way with this entity that I'm currently hosting. You want to make shit right, you got to do the work. And for the Judas character, I know that you never watch any of the stuff that I put out anyway. Again, which is just a clear indication that your intentions towards me have always been malicious. You never once acknowledged me as an avatar. You never even not once acknowledged the fact that even if I weren't an avatar, I would still be considerably a genius. There is no world in which you can't cling to this notion, this myth that somehow you are superior to me, and you're not. It's not too late for you. You don't have to own that shit. You don't have to live it. You don't have to let Satan have a stronghold on your heart, a stronghold on your mind and your actions. But the more you practice vanity and the more you practice self-idealizing and competing, especially competing against me, is the deeper and deeper you dig yourself into a ditch. Nobody makes you do it. Like even if for whatever reason you could make the case that I was evil or whatever, which is impossible. But if you could make the case that I was evil and you clung to this notion that you were doing a good thing by being opposed to me, at the end of the day, your opposition does not require you to be a dick. It doesn't require you to. God never asked you to be a fucking thug for him. This is something I want humans to understand. God never asked you to be a thug for him. Or it. God never said, hey, human, I'm going to make a special army of people who I want to go around and punish people. And I'm choosing you to be part of that army. That's some shit humans completely made up on their own. Literally, Jesus said, vengeance is mine. Didn't he? So y'all are the impression that somehow you are Jesus and that you are extensions of Jesus and you're imbued with the right to go around punishing people for your own amusement and satisfaction. God never asked you to be a dick. God never asked you to be a thug. God never asked you to hold a funky attitude toward anybody for its sake. That's some shit you made up on your own, thereby reinforcing the notion that you're a raging narcissist. Even me being what I am, you don't see me going around trying to judge and punish people. Once we're out of these bodies, what's going to happen is going to happen. But you don't see me going around, oh, my son, how dare you? In the name of God, I smite thee. Fuck that. It's not necessary. That's what narcissistic ideologues do. They think that their beliefs imbue them with the right and authority to go around judging and punishing others to the tune of them feeling superior to others and living and benefiting at the expense of others. But this is going to get bad. And the worst part about it is nobody made this happen but you. Nobody makes you practice being narcissistic, y'all. Nobody makes you practice being a dick. Nowhere in the Bible does it tell you that you are supposed to be a dick for God. That's some shit y'all made up on your own. God has never tapped you and said, hey, yo, I need you to go punish this person for me. Never. Ever, ever, ever. Ever, ever, ever. Ever. Your vanity has drug you into a war with meta beings who don't stand for your ridiculousness. And if you think I'm an asshole for claiming to be what I am, but you're not an asshole for assuming that it's your place to judge and punish others on behalf of what you perceive to be God, then you are corrupt through and through. There's at least a 50% chance that I'm telling the truth. At a minimum, there's enough evidence for me to settle on, or for me to stand on, to suggest that I'm telling the truth completely. But even if you want to go the skeptical route with it, there's at a minimum a 50% chance that I am exactly what and how I claim to be. There's a 100% chance that God didn't choose you to be a dick on its behalf. Weigh those statistics. Odds of me being what I am, I'm over 50%. Odds of God telling you it's your place to judge and punish others, there's 0%. God never gave you permission to do so. Especially not the God that Jesus spoke of. The God of the Hebrew Aramaic scriptures. That wasn't the same God that Jesus spoke of and referred to as his heavenly Father. I mean, we talk about that later, but I mean, this is why Jesus made the differentiation between the God of Abraham, Jacob, and Isaac, and the one he referred to that as the God of the living, which is society's hive mind, basically. And then, why he referred to his heavenly Father and didn't refer to them as one and the same. Reality has power over the dead and the alive, whereas society only has power over the living. Which is why the questions those individuals are asking pertaining to the wife that got passed down through brothers were irrelevant, because social contracts end with death. Social contracts end with death. The impacts you make on reality, they carry with you while you're living, and they stay with you well beyond when you passed on from the mortal coil. If you're putting your eggs in any basket right now, and I don't even want you to put all the eggs in my basket, in the basket of Donald King, but if you're putting all your eggs in a basket that makes you diametrically opposed to me, you're fighting a losing battle. And the worst part about it is you're racking up massive damage for choosing to fight that stupid battle. Your desire to fight, your desire to compete is motivated by pride and pride alone, and you will pay the piper. Again, God can't be in you and pride. Either pride is in you or God is in you, but never both. If you choose to lead with pride, if you choose to nurture pride within yourself, you must block reality out in order to preserve your inner story and your sense of value and worth. But you choose. You choose. Guys, you know what it is. It's your man. I'm here to make you sing. I gotta come up with more words to rhyme with sing. You know what's weird? Donald King. It's like I I'm a songwriter. I was a songwriter for many moons, man. I was a songwriter for many moons. I was a good songwriter, man. And for some reason, it's like my verbosity, it seems limited these days. By the way, I'm barely dialed in tonight, so I don't even know how I did on this podcast. I'm just shooting from the hip. And again, I was hoping that we would have more of a conversation and dialogue here, but it got a little bit intense. I guess getting into the Judas, getting into the Judas subject. And I guess the reason why I even address it, it mostly has to do with the fact that I get pissed when people who I only bring good energy to have it in their mind that they're going to aggress against me for reasons not related to how I treat them. When you don't mess with anybody and someone goes out of their way to fuck with you, it brings on a special type of feeling where their motives towards you are purely sinister. And you're kind of like, so that's how it is? And once that line is drawn and I start to look at people differently, everything changes. I mean, I give people chances, but if you're going to double down on your desire to be hostile towards me, then best believe you're going to catch every piece of this fade. Every piece of it. And you will have earned it. So, yeah, that's, I'm a little bit off on that one. But I shoot these on Mondays and Wednesdays on Facebook Live. On Facebook Live? And also, I share videos to Instagram. I post all of these videos to my YouTube channel. Again, this is episode 80. So wow, it's been a minute. It's been a minute getting it done. And also, you can catch me on Medium. I post content there pretty regularly. So, I think when they took one of my bigger stories out of circulation, I had one that just really that did well for a lot of years, man. What I hate about logical fallacies. That man, it's like they got like 5,000 or something views. I'm surprised that it's like being what I am and the type of content that I put out, that it's like it's still such an uphill battle to reach people. And as much as I would love to, attribute a lot of that to people shadow banning and doing stuff behind the scenes, I'd be remiss to not mention that a lot of people are just so narcissistic and so sold on the idea of themselves that they simply can't consider anything that extends above or beyond the level of self-interest. So they like me as long as I'm saying they're right. And if I say that they're wrong, why? They join the pack of people who hate me. We're going to bring him down. We're going to beat him. It's a lot. Y'all do too much. Anywho, guys, if you get any sort of appreciation out of what I do and you want to see me reach a larger platform, which is my goal in life, I really am supposed to be focusing almost exclusively on avatar work right now. Maybe fatherhood as well. Well, definitely, hopefully fatherhood and more in the near future. But it's like I'm only supposed to, literally, when you are hosting a thing that gives you magic goggles to help you see reality in perfect pitch, your only job is supposed to be explaining what you see. Period. And all the extra stuff that I have to do in order to survive in society, it gets charged back to the species. It's a lot. I give you guys opportunity to join in and help, because as you continue to help clear the path for this entity to be heard, you are, so far as I can tell, you're doing work to help reverse negative impacts you've made on reality. If you're doing work to help reverse negative impacts you've made on reality, you're ultimately doing work to get yourself good with God. You're getting yourself good with God. You're becoming conscientious. You're making a positive impact on the world, and reality's efforts to restore balance, and guess what? Your efforts are rewarded. But if you just continue to be a narcissistic asshole to the tune of corruption using you as a weapon and or an agent against reality, then you have to catch that fade. So I'm giving you guys opportunities to join in, to help, to pitch in. If you want to, you can always join the Patreon family. I'm Avatar Cycle XIII. That's Avatar Cycle 13. And also, you can Cash App your boy. You can Salt Bay me with a little bit of love. Again, proceeds go to building this up to a larger platform. I'm doing everything that I can. I literally have to burn the candle in the middle because there are only so many hours in a day. There's only so much energy that this body can produce and subsist on, and I have to take care of that in addition to all the other things that are going on in life, and it's a lot. It's a lot for one person to carry, so at least it's fair to give people an opportunity to assist. I can't say, hey, I did everything in my power if I never said, hey guys, you can pitch in too to help me get this across the finish line. So we'll leave it at that. Guys, I love you. Hey, look here. I love the person in you. I don't love the corruption in you. If you're giving yourself to corruption, I am always going to hate corruption. I'm always going to hate corruption, but the person, the individual, the thing behind the acting and the pageantry, behind all the excuses and the excuses and deflection, behind all the parasitism, what exists, your most authentic state, I love you to the core of what you are, regardless of whether or not I like who you are. Thing is, you can change who you are. You cannot change what you are. I choose to focus on what you are and try to reach what you are, as opposed to trying to appeal to who you are and or who you think you are, if that makes sense. It's your man. I appreciate you. Nobody has to be a Judas. Nobody has to be a dick. Something you practice is something you choose. We'll get over it, hopefully together, but if you choose to walk that path, just understand there's no way for it to not end horrifically. Period. If you let Satan use you, it's like letting Satan take you out to dinner and telling you to order all the fillets and all the crab legs and yeah. And it ordering all that shit too. Y'all having a feast, and then it leaving and sticking you with the bill. That's what serving corruption is like. At the end, you get left with the bill. It's your man. I'm out.